Good morning, siblings in Christ. My name is Julie Grindle. I'm the assistant to the bishop for candidacy and mobility in the Upstate New York Synod, and I'm so happy to be with you on this beautiful Saturday morning. I do have my windows open, so you might hear cars coming by every now and then. Certainly, hopefully you'll hear some nature happening all around us. If you ask my family, I try to have the windows open as much as possible, at least until the grass starts pollinating, when my entire sinus system sort of implodes inside of me, and then pretty much we have to shut it all up. But until that happens, the windows are open despite whatever might be happening outside. So I hope that you are also able to bring some of God's creation inside today, or that you are able to go outside into God's creation. And that's sort of what I'm bringing you today in the hymn that hopefully the text has been posted. Yes, I see it is. Light Dawns on a Weary World. It's ELW 726. And I'd like to draw your attention to this text today for a lot of different reasons. It's one of my very favorite hymns. But I want to look first at the refrain. And if you don't know this hymn, boy, I think you're going to leave this time together absolutely loving it, or I hope you do. The refrain is taken from Isaiah, and I'm going to read that section from Isaiah in just a moment. But I want to draw your attention to it because I want to talk about the very last word. So the refrain is, "The trees shall clap their hands, the dry lands gush with springs. The hills and mountains shall break forth with singing. We shall go out in joy and be led forth in peace, as all the world in wonder echoes, shalom." So I reached out to a friend of mine who is a cantor at one of the local Jewish synagogues, because I think we in our Christian faith certainly have encountered shalom, and I wanted to ask her, as one of our Jewish sisters, how she would define shalom. And I asked her if I could quote her, and she said, sure. I'm very lucky to be able to sing for their high holidays in the fall. So she's a friend of mine, and so this is what she says. She says, the root of the word shalom comes from the Hebrew word shalem, which means complete or whole. This adds a new dimension to the meaning of peace. Peace means that things are complete and whole. It is not just the absence of conflict, but it is the feeling of completeness, that all is full and right. Now, I know that when Mel Bringle wrote the text for this hymn, she is a prolific hymn writer of creation texts. And so this particular hymn for her would have been about God rejoicing over creation's being remade whole, right? God's work in that remaking of creation and our partnership in that. But I would also submit to you the readings for tomorrow, if you are reading from the Revised Common Lectionary, when we're still in that high priestly prayer, and Jesus is talking about wanting us all to be one, as he and the Father are one. This idea of wholeness and completeness and being one with each other. And so then now I'd like to take you back to the beginning of this hymn, where it says, light dawns on a weary world. Love grows in a weary world. Hope blooms in a weary world. And I will confess to you, my brothers and sisters, that I have felt weary this week. I'm weary because I feel that cracks are happening in our society. And of course they have been for a while, right? Before even this virus happened, we had cracks in our society and inequities and terrible things happening. But since we've been in quarantine, we've seen it more, I think. And a weariness has settled in a little bit. And then we rally, and then we grow weary again. And for me, this hymn speaks to God's continuing love for us and God's continuing desire to bring us back to wholeness and to have all of creation be in this oneness and this wholeness together. And so when we sing this hymn together this morning, I encourage you to live into this beauty of this Isaiah text that I'm going to read, that is this vision of what this oneness and this wholeness and this loveliness that can abound in creation when we all exist for each other and in love for each other, and to offer each other God's beauty in wholeness and oneness. So this is the reading, Isaiah 35, 1-10, and then we'll sing this hymn together. This is usually an Advent text. The wilderness and the dry land shall be glad. The desert shall rejoice and blossom. Like the crocus it shall blossom abundantly and rejoice with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given to it, the majesty of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of the Lord, the majesty of our God. Strengthen the weak hands and make firm the feeble knees. Say to those who are of a fearful heart, be strong, do not fear. Here is your God. He will come with vengeance, with terrible recompense. He will come and save you. The eyes of the blind shall be opened and the ears of the deaf unstopped. Then the lame shall leap like a deer, and the tongue of the speechless sing for joy. For waters shall break forth in the wilderness and streams in the desert. The burning sand shall become a pool, and the thirsty ground springs of water. The haunt of jackals shall become a swamp. The grass shall become reeds and rushes. A highway shall be there, and it shall be called the Holy Way. The unclean shall not travel on it, but it shall be for God's people. No traveler, not even fools, shall go astray. No lion shall be there, nor shall any ravenous beast come upon it. They shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. And the ransomed of the Lord shall return and come to Zion with singing. Everlasting joy shall be upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. I invite you to sing with me now. Light dawns on a weary world, and I invite you into God's richest blessings on this day and every day. Light dawns on a weary world when eyes begin to see a people's dignity. Light dawns on a weary world. The promised day of justice comes. The trees shall clap their hands. The dry lands gush with springs. The hills and mountains shall break forth with singing. We shall go out in joy and be led forth in peace, as all the world in wonder echoes shalom. Love grows in a weary world when hungry hearts find bread and children's dreams are fed. Love grows in a weary world. The promised feast of plenty comes. The trees shall clap their hands. The dry lands gush with springs. The hills and mountains shall break forth with singing. We shall go out in joy and be led forth in peace, as all the world in wonder echo shalom. Hope blooms in a weary world when creatures once forlorn find wilderness reborn. Hope blooms in a weary world. The promised green of Eden comes. The trees shall clap their hands. The dry Peace be with you, friends. Shalom.